So first, I'd like to start off with some classic classic edition illustrated classics. This one, of course, being Edgar Allan Poe, Tales of Mystery and Terror. And I am quite fond of the cover art here. If you're familiar with these books, you'll know that they are stylized, and I believe the two that I'm going to show you today are from 1979, both from the same year. And yeah, these are short stories, and each page has a page of text and a page of illustrations with a little caption beneath. And I believe this one has multiple stories in it. Here we have The Cask of Amontillado, or something like that. I will not claim to say that that is the proper pronunciation, but you see it's a lovely little book. Oh, and then one that everybody knows, of course, The Fall of the House of Usher. And there you have The House of Usher. So yeah, I really enjoy finding these when I'm out and about. I believe the two that I'm going to show you today mean that I now have 10 in my collection, and I'd be more than happy to show those off in a future video. This is the other one I found, along with that one. The Last of the Mohicans. Again, you can see the color schemes are really, they really catch the eye, you could say. And, yeah, they are lovely little books, and they make for some interesting shelf fodder, so to speak. Anybody who's been following my Instagram for any amount of time should know that I'm a huge fan of R.L. Stine's work, and I did find some paperback R.L. Stine's just yesterday when I was out and about. These are, I believe, mostly from the 90s. Not part of his Fear Street series. This one isn't, at least. This is just some of his young adult fiction. But yes, so there's Twisted. She's beautiful, she's popular, she's crazy. Then, of course, we have Cheerleaders, The Second Evil. Not a face to be trifled with there. This one is actually part of Fear Street, which, if you're not familiar with Fear Street, but you do know about Goosebumps, it's a more adult-themed version of Goosebumps, basically. It's made for kids that are older than kids, I guess you could say. Teenagers, usually. So we've got that one. Another Fear Street, One Evil Summer. Chrissy is perfect. Perfectly evil. And I really love just the 90s style cheese of these covers. That's the reason I really collect them, is I just am always so fond of the cover art that's chosen for these. I have just two more here. Not part of Fear Street, but it is R.L. Stine. The Hitchhiker. Don't Stop Now. This one, a little bit later published. It has the Scholastic binding. Not sure of the dates specifically of any of these, but in the future video I might show them off with some of the others that I have in my collection. This one's probably my personal favorite out of the bunch. Curtains. The play's the thing until the blood begins to run. I just really enjoy the cover art from these, and I think that they are fun whenever I find them. So Halloween's coming up in about a month. It's going to be October, and we have here a short collection of stories and poems from an old library book that you'll often find these in Goodwill and Value Village, which is where the bulk of these came from, in case you're curious about such things. And yes, it's just a short collection of stories and poems to get you in the Halloween spirit. And I do really like the illustration style. Some of them are strange. This one, of course, being one of them. The Haunted House. Anything spooky oriented like this reminds me of when I would be a child and it would be library time in elementary school, and we would always be able to pick a book of our choice, and I usually gravitated to the spooky books, and I don't know, that's just something I was always into as a child. Now for something completely different. A Dr. Seuss book, You're Only Old Once. A book for obsolete children. Now, I had never heard of this book. I came across it just yesterday for the first time. Is this a children's book? Well, not immediately. You buy a copy for your child now, and you give it to him on his 70th birthday. And for various reasons, I'm not going to open this one right now. I'm actually saving this one to read with somebody important to me. But something I did not know existed. And now I do. Here we have one of the books for young explorers, which are definitely a favorite of mine. They are from National Geographic, and they were published throughout the 70s and the 80s, I believe. And they are short informational books with some very high-quality photos in them of various subjects. A lot of them have to do with nature and science, of course. It's National Geographic. But there are some world ones as well. And they always have these colorful bindings. Well, this one's not really colorful in this case. It's black. But I have two other here that I found a little while ago. Not in the same haul, but you can see they all have the similar binding in different variations of color. And since I'm showing you these anyway, we have Exploring the Seashore and Animals in Danger. So Animal Clowns is the most recent addition to my growing collection. And again, I plan to do videos on all of these books individually because I do happen to have quite a lot of them. So I feel a video is definitely warranted. Anybody else who's been watching my feed for a while knows that I also love dinosaurs and dinosaur books. And this is just the most recent one I found. Dinosaurs and More Dinosaurs, so extra dinosaurs, extra fun. And yes, it's a book, I believe, from, let's just check, 1968. The new 1968 edition. And it's a book on dinosaurs. What more can you ask for? Having trouble fitting it in the frame. It's pretty big. But, yeah. It's got some neat illustrations. I'm always fascinated to see how different artists illustrate dinosaurs. Especially the further back you go. We learn so much about dinosaurs every decade. More than we knew before. That some of this information, well, hopefully not a lot of it, but some of it is definitely obsolete as far as the visuals go. And yes, I do quite like me some dinosaurs. So this one adds one more to my collection. Dinosaurs, of course, will get their own video eventually. And then the last book in the haul I found was this book called Castles, a three-dimensional exploration. And yes, it is a pop-up book. And I really do enjoy pop-up books. And finding ones that are actually still functional, at least mostly, is harder than you might think. People tend to be pretty rough with these, especially children. Not a pop-up on this page, but still some lovely illustrations. Oh, does this pop up? Oh, the flap lives. So I suppose that's what the evolution of a castle would be. All these pieces would be added. And then we have the actual meat of the book. The pop-ups themselves. Now, I found in playing around with this that they do take a little bit of wiggling to get them to sit appropriately. This book was published in 1991, but still very neat to find, and as far as I can tell, it's in full functional order. This one having some trouble with the camera, but rest assured it is a tall castle, and I plan to do a video eventually on the pop-up books that I have in my collection, and this will most definitely be featured in it. But here's a little sneak peek, albeit a terrible sneak peek. Well, friends, thank you for watching this hopefully short video on the books that I found while I was out and about. If you liked this video, please let me know, of course, by liking it. I really enjoy going out and finding new books, always adding to my collection, so I would have the utmost joy in making more of these, if these are interesting to you at all. If you see any books in this video that you'd like me to delve into deeper, please let me know. And otherwise, I will catch you all around in the next video when we'll be back to something more specific. But until then, friends, happy reading, and I will see you the next time we read together.